Happy brunching. Welcome to Brunch Talk by the DATEABLE podcast. We are here to answer your burning dating questions that are just really annoying you. You know, we all have those questions. They're like, I just need this answered.
Yes, and we're going to get into the one today in a minute, but this one I think is an aggravating one. I've spent many times deciphering this, decoding it, hashing it out over hash browns at brunch, and
hashing it out over hash browns.
That should be a slogan
name of our next show
right now. That's like a good TV segment, hashing it out over hash browns. But that is brunch talk. I feel like that is exactly why you bring your dating woes to brunch in the first place.
There's just like this texting graveyard of all the texts we've gotten that we've tried to analyze over and over again that no longer serve us and really don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Like, we should just, we should dig through that graveyard. That's what that's what half of dating is digging through all the texts and trying to figure out what they mean. Ugh.
Yeah. I feel like, we might as well just get into this one because, we could sit and talk about brunch all day, but this question's just so top of mind, so good, we might as well just do it.
Let us know if this has ever happened to you. The question is, why do they keep texting but don't ask me out on a date?
Okay, and our listener wrote in and said, I went on a couple great dates with this guy, and he's constantly texting me, but he never wants to make plans. In fact, when I bring up hanging out, he seems to dodge the question or always seems to be busy. If he's not interested, why even text at all?
Okay, we can sit here for hours and try to figure out all the different scenarios of why someone keeps texting you and they don't ask you out. But okay, here's the thing. If you want to see them, why not just ask them out? Or ask, I feel like we've been texting quite a bit. I think it's time to take this off texting and meet in person. You take control of the conversation. You take control of your love life. There is absolutely nothing productive about us trying to figure out why this person only texts.
Yeah, I mean, I was reading this person is trying, whether they're coming flat out and asking versus more, being a little coy about it. We don't know that. So I agree. If you're not being direct, maybe be direct. But if you are being direct and they're still dodging you, then one word, validation. That's what they're doing. They just want to see if you're going to text back. They want you there. Maybe they have someone else that's the front runner and they still want to know that they have another option. And you don't want that. And it almost doesn't matter what the reason is. So I agree. It's like, how explicit have you been? Yeah, it's really annoying to have to always be the one to ask to do something. Or if you're dropping hints and no one's picking up on them, I could see the frustration, but maybe see have I exhausted what I can control? If the answer is yes, then say do I want to waste my time talking to this person? Or do I even want to exert any energy talking to this person that clearly isn't prioritizing me?
I feel like there's nothing more annoying than someone trying to build their fan club. I
Oh,
swear,
yeah.
half the people on dating apps are just trying to find more fans.
Yeah.
And they don't really actually want to meet up with anybody. They just want to feel good about themselves because they're probably in a relationship or they're still trying to get out of a relationship. Who knows? We don't know their situation, but it's you can tell someone's intentions. And I wish we can date with more intentionality versus trying to read people's minds. If we can get to the root of why someone keeps texting you, you just have to think, what is their intention here? Are they intending to get to know me better?
Right.
Some people, maybe their intentions are they just move a little slower. That's okay. But
Yeah.
that needs to be communicated. Otherwise, you just drive people mad.
That's a really good point too. I'm not saying that you want to be there if someone's never around, but like if they are traveling, for
Yeah.
instance, that's very different than if they're in your hometown. They're clearly not prioritizing plans. Whether that person is still available for a relationship, we don't know, but at least the intention isn't I'm just going to text you with no follow through at all. Like there's external reasons I can't make it happen. So I do think asking what is going on in this situation. I remember having someone like this and it was beyond frustrating. And I would definitely like
Mm-hmm.
ask, not maybe I wasn't explicit in asking them out, but I would always be like, what are you up to on Friday? Or like, what are you up to this weekend? Like trying to get it going. And they'd always be like, oh, I'm going to this bar, and like they'd invite me to go to the bar but like
Ugh,
never make a plan.
no,
So I think, yeah, I
no.
think it was just like minimal effort wanted to be put in, whether it was they needed the fan club or they just were lazy, like I don't know, but at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, who cares? Like that's not who you want to surround yourself with.
Yeah, do you want to be in a relationship with someone like that? You can't even make fucking plans with them. How
Right.
can you be in a relationship with them? I spoke to a friend last night. She told me something so refreshing. She just recently started seeing this guy. They've been on 2 dates. It's been a while since they've actually made plans for the third date, but he's communicating along the way why it's taking a while. He's saying,
Yeah.
work is really crazy. My intentions are to see you again. I would love to see you again. I'm just not 100% this week, but my goal is to make plans with you next Thursday. As long
That's
as you,
perfect. Yeah.
right? Keep people in the loop. Maybe it takes a while to actually see each other in person, but at least your anxiety is not getting to the best of you, wondering what is happening. He is making it very clear his intentions are to see you again.
Yeah, I'm thinking back to this guy that I was thinking about, and it was really annoying because he was constantly texting. Because, like this
Mm.
listener points out, it doesn't make sense. Because you think if they just
Yeah.
didn't like me, they wouldn't even waste the time at all, right? Like it
Yeah.
doesn't make. And what are they getting from this texting? That's the other question. But I think there are reasons that people maybe text when they can't do other plans, but also if you're spending hours texting, couldn't you just meet up at that point? Like that's the part
Yeah.
that would frustrate me. Like I think what your story with your friend, if you're dropping them every now and then, but not necessarily these full on engagements without any indication to future plans, that's very different in my opinion.
Yeah, yes. I've had so many text exchanges where someone's like, "Oh, we should do that sometime. We
Yeah,
should check out this place sometime. Oh, I walked by this restaurant. We should check that out
so
sometime."
vague.
It's
So
so
vague.
vague. It gives you this ounce of hope, and then you step back and you question, "Well, was that an invite? Are we hanging out?" And then if you play coy, it goes nowhere. And you just like are making these fictional plans. Are you going to meet in VR or something? Like, we're going to meet at this virtual cafe. But it's just so weird when people do that. And you kind of almost have to call them out. You have to
Yeah.
say, okay, is that an invite? Are we making
Well,
this happen?
I remember it was really awkward because I'm like, do I break up with this person? It's not like we're dating, right? Like they're not
Yeah.
even asking me on dates, yet they're constantly texting me. And it's borderline annoying at this point, right? Because you have other stuff to do and you don't want, I mean, especially if you like the person, like you don't want your headspace to be taken by this person that clearly isn't really giving you what you want. So it almost feels like you should say something, but it's also really
Yes.
awkward because, I think you can just say, like, hey, I'm looking for a relationship that I see the person, we get to know each other. Like, this clearly isn't it for whatever reason. Like, I'm down to meet up again, but if not, I don't want to keep texting.
Yeah. And that's saying a lot coming from Julie because Julie loves texting. And if she's like, yo, you know
Oh,
what? You are texting way too
well, I
much.
don't want to text with people I don't meet up in person with. Like, I love texting with my friends and my partner and people I'm dating that I'm also seeing in real life. Like, I don't need like a virtual pen pal. Like, that I don't need. I have enough people to text. Yes.
Yes, you do. The pen pal mode is so frustrating to me. I've heard people tell me, "Oh, I've been seeing this person. We've been texting for a few weeks now." And I'm like, "No, you're not seeing this person.
Yeah.
If it's just a texting relationship,
No.
that's not, you're not seeing each other. Let's stop pretending that that is something. Yes, you're building rapport possibly, but isn't the goal of a relationship is to be in like in real life, physical connection?
There was
not
someone
just
I was
virtual?
talking to before my partner, like around the same time, like a little before I met him. And this guy was like a VC, so he was like super busy, you know, but every night would text me and we get like flirtatious, but I never met him. Never met him in person. It was one of those things that he was just always too busy. And I'm like, something isn't adding up here. Like all your words are like how bad you want to meet up and see each other, but you can't make it happen ever. Like that seems really weird to me. Either you've got a wife and kids.
Yep.
You're not telling me, or you're purely just doing this for validation.
Yes. I think that's a cautionary tale. If you feel like something's not adding up, trust your gut because something's probably not adding up. They're hiding something from you, especially those that are constantly texting you and then casually asking you to hang out with them on their schedule. I'm going to this bar. Do you want to hang out? Right. Those types of texts are very much warning signs because they're not making space for you. So therefore, what is going on in their life that is very suspicious?
Or they're just a lazy dater and like not ready to make the room for you. Like there's been some guys that I've had this happen with that I don't think are like that guy I was mentioning earlier. I don't think he had a wife and kids. Like I really don't. The one that was like always texting me. I think he was just an overgrown frat boy that just prioritized hanging out with the bros and like doing stuff than dating at the time. You know, now he's married with a kid and clearly like made his wife at the now a priority. So either there wasn't the feeling with me or he just wasn't at the stage to make it a priority. That being said, whatever the reason was, like,
doesn't matter.
You don't need to spend the time texting this person, you know?
No, it doesn't matter.
It's just pulling you away from someone that wants to make the time to see you.
It just means they're not the right person for you.
Exactly.
Have you been guilty of this? Have you texted someone? No intentions of meeting up with them?
No. I mean, I just don't have time to do that. I don't know. That's why, like, it never made sense, especially that guy, the VC guy that was claiming to be so busy. I'm like, if you're so busy, wouldn't it actually be more time effective to just meet me once and decide if there was a connection than to spend all these hours texting someone you don't even know? Doesn't make any sense to me at all. Have you?
You know, okay, so is the league still around? I just thought of this.
Yeah, it is.
Do
I know.
Still use it.
I don't hear that many people talking about it this day and age, but I did see an ad on TikTok the other day.
Really? Okay, so they're still around.
They're still around.
I remember meeting this guy on the league, and this was in New York. I did not know how old he was. I just assumed he was my age. I don't know why I didn't know how old he was. He took me to a really nice steakhouse and revealed that he was only 19. He was an intern at the league. Yes.
What?
And I was like 28 or 29 at the time.
How did I not? Wait, what?
He was 19, Julie. He was 19. He couldn't even order alcohol.
Oh,
but he took me to this really nice steakhouse because I think he thought, oh, I'm dating this older woman. I should take her to a nice steakhouse.
Oh, my God.
He was legit the youngest person there, and also probably, like, everyone was probably like, that's my grandkid's age. So we had this, like, really cute meal, not in an attraction kind of way, but it's like I was learning about, he was, like, going to NYU, and he was an intern at the league. We were learning a lot. And then after this date, I wouldn't even call it a date. I would say it was
your babysitting expedition.
Yeah,
it was your babysitting job. Yeah,
I was paid to babysit for the night, or I was given a meal to babysit for the night.
Yeah.
Or what is it like? enrichment, like he's earning credits for his
Yeah.
internship. Yeah, it was like that, learning on the job. And after the date, I just kept texting him, not that I wanted to hang out with him again, because I want to get the ins and outs of the league. I want
Oh
to know
my
what was happening
God.
behind the
Oh my
scenes.
God.
And he was also like, oh, after I'm done with midterms, we should hang out again. I'm like, great, but what is the algorithm?
Oh
Tell
my
me
God,
more.
you're so funny. You're like, how do I get off the wait list? Can you bump me ahead?
I was his aunt, I felt like I was like the aunt that he probably fantasized about, which
Oh
is
my
kind of gross.
God.
The same
I
idea.
can't believe I've never heard this story until now.
Julie, he showed up and I was like, how old is this guy? He looked way older in his photos. And in his photos, he was like, oh, I'm part of a rugby club. I didn't realize it was
Oh
like
my
rugby
God.
team
College. Yeah.
in college. The guy was 19. So I had
Oh
no
my
intentions of
God.
ever hanging out with him again. But again, it shows my intention was trying to
Right.
get information
Right.
out of him
Oh my
and not
God.
to hang out.
Okay, so we've established that you have done this before because you're trying to get insider info. Has anyone done this to you that they've kind of kept you on the hook?
A shit ton. I feel like a shit ton of people I've matched with on dating apps. And it's like hot and heavy in the beginning. You're just like texting back and forth as witty, and it's like all this banter. And then it just keeps going. And then you're like, how much wittier can we get? This is just getting very exhausting. Texting gets very exhausting when you're texting someone you don't know.
Oh, yeah. And I think it depends on the stage too. Like if you're, on the dating app stage and you're texting them and it doesn't seem to ever be going into a date, I think you can just say something like, hey, I feel like this conversation would be better for in person. Do you want to meet up sometime? Or do you want to meet up, if you want to even be more bold, next week? What days work for you? That's what I would do. And if they weren't receptive, then you cut it, because like there's only so much longer you can talk to a complete stranger, right? Like someone you've never met before. I think the 1 to 2 date ones, those are a little trickier, but at the same time, it's like we don't know each other that well. Why can't this move? I mean, if you want to be a little more empathetic, you could even say like, hey, is there something going on in your life right now that's causing you not to be able to meet up? Like, I was really down to keep getting to know you, but it seems like for whatever reason, we're not on the same page with that. Like, it doesn't need to be confrontational, but I think not being afraid to ask it is going to save a lot of time for you than just getting wrapped up. And, we always say, like, relationships aren't a waste of time and dating isn't a waste of time. But I do feel like texting someone you barely know actually is a waste of time.
100% waste of time.
There's no growth that's happening from that. All you're doing is like going back on small talk and banter, and it's like, for what?
Nothing. But it goes back to what we were saying earlier too. Some people have different timelines of how comfortable they are in meeting up in person. Now, I would say the onus is on them to communicate that, but some people cannot communicate that. So it is good to come from a place of empathy and say, I really enjoyed our conversations over text. I like to meet up in person. How comfortable are you with that? So at least you can make it more of a discussion as opposed to like pointing fingers, right?
Right. I think as long as you're approaching it in not a confrontational way, there's nothing wrong with this. And you also, even if this person, I've definitely had these people that want to talk for 2 weeks on the apps. That's your prerogative if that's how you feel. But also, like, if you internally want to meet up quicker, I personally did not have the time to talk to someone for 2 weeks. Like, I didn't. And it's like, I also knew the limitations of dating apps, that they're a great intro, but there's only so much you can glean from texting and messaging and all that. So in my opinion, let's meet up. I don't want to meet up with anyone and everyone, but as soon as we have enough of that rapport and connection that it makes sense to meet up, let's meet up. So you have to also know your own internal timelines and see, like, is this someone I can compromise with? Are we just not a fit? Like all of that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. My guy friend just showed me his apps, and there's been a few women he's been talking to for over 6 months.
Why?
And I was
It's like,
scrolling through these
why?
messages, and he likes plants. He likes to talk about plants. So it was all conversations about what plants they have, how
Oh
to
my
take care of
God.
them. This one woman, all their exchanges were about plants. And I asked him straight up, I was like, it's been 6 months. Your first message was 6 months ago. She hasn't said anything about meeting up. You haven't mentioned anything
No,
about
it's
meeting
terrible.
up.
Yeah.
Why haven't you asked her out? And he said, well, she lives a little far.
Then why are you talking to her? By
She
the
lives a
way,
little far.
how much time it would take to drive, you're wasting that time with the text messaging. It doesn't make any
Right?
sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And I can see why, because he's building his fan club on the
Yeah.
apps. There were a few women he was more interested in, so he
Yep.
did ask them out. But this woman, he found an excuse, but he liked the fact that she was still
Around.
interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was still around, still interested, providing value in the form of plant knowledge. I don't even know, but I was like, I want to shake this woman and say, what are you doing? And I shook him, but I was like, I want to shake you. What are you doing?
I was
You
going
can
to say,
go
you need to
on-
shake him also, for sure. Like, both of them need to be shook.
Both of them
yes.
needed some major shaking. But I also want to be like, there are so many Facebook groups on plants.
Oh, my God, yes.
Go in those Facebook groups.
And I mean, we don't know. She might have had, he was maybe at the bottom of her list too. Like, we don't
True.
really know what she was doing. But at the end of the day, I think the question is like, what value is this bringing for both of you? If you truly can say, this is enough value for me, I would go on a whim that most daters, especially the ones that are writing in about this, do not believe this is enough value. But if you can truly say, I am getting my cup filled by talking about plants to someone I will never, ever see in my life, pretty much,
Yeah.
go for it. But that's probably not the case.
Most likely not the case.
If it
Very
is, then maybe
frustrating.
there's a larger issue here of why do I not have other friends and family members and people in my circle that I actually see that I can talk to this stuff about. Just saying.
Just say, yes.
Like, if you're
have some
that
real
lonely that you're embracing internet strangers, there's a larger issue, I think. And that's not
Yeah.
dating, not fixed through dating.
Yeah. Yep. And we're just, again, we're just in such a weird time right now. Remember when internet first came out, people had pen pals on the internet? I remember messaging strangers all
Oh,
the
yeah.
time because I just thought it was cool that I could be connecting with people I didn't know. And then you have things like chat roulette where you can just connect with people globally that you don't know. But if you're on dating apps, is a different intention. That's not about connecting with strangers. It's about meeting people.
Also, we were in a global pandemic and
Yeah.
people figured out how to meet. We found
Yes.
new creative ways to meet in person in the height of the global pandemic in a way that was safe.
Yes.
Someone can meet with you. It's not that difficult.
It's not that difficult.
Pending they want to. And if they don't want to, you don't want to at the end of the day.
Yes. 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 Hope that, yes, I think that completely answers the question. Just
Just-
so many layers to it, but
At the end of the day, it comes back to you. Are you getting value from this
Mm-hmm.
situation? Are you moving it along as much as you can? If not, what else can you do? If so, like, is this even someone you want to engage with? That's
Right.
the question right there.
right. Thank you for that question. Thank you, all of you, for sending in your questions. The texting ones are always good.
Oh, yeah.
We have more of these texting ones coming up. But if you want to ask us a question, send us your questions by emailing us, hello@dateablepodcast.com, or you can DM us on social media @dateablepodcast. That's our handle. We read all of them, and we are going to answer all of them, damn it. All of them.
Okay, we'll see you next week. Happy brunching.